Hi all, welcome to Spring Framework tutorial series. This is the 8th video for that series where we will be discussing about value annotations. So initially we will add the value from bins.xml file using the value attributes. Then later on we will inject the values using dollar and curly braces from application.properties file, and lastly we will introduce value annotation on the top of dependencies. Then we will inject the value. So let's go ahead with the video. Before going ahead with the video, I request you please subscribe to the channel to get videos on Spring Boot, microservices, REST API and Java. So let's get started. So I will create a new application called called value demo. For that I will do right click, new, module, value demo, and I will be using Java 17, group ID com dot the deep developer, value demo. Project is created, and to use or to load Spring framework I will add a dependency here. Let me add that. So dependency I have added called Spring core and Spring context. I load the dependency, and I will also add beans.xml file to create the beans. So I will add that. So I have added the beans.xml file. I will come to this part later on. Let me go to this main applications, and here I will create a class called employee having the fields like employee name, ID or email ID or hobby. Let me create that. Go to So I have created this employee class with name, email ID and the setter method for name, email ID and hobby, and I have created a simple display method that will display name, email ID and hobby. So I will go to this beans.xml file, and I will assign some value, and I will create the beans of employee, and I will inject the value for EMP or name, email ID or hobby. Let me do that. So I have added some of values for name, email ID and hobby cricket Subhadeep at gmail.com, and value name is Subhadeep, and the beans name is EMP object, and beans is created from this employee class. And in the main class, whatever that I have load this application context, and I have fetched the object or beans using EMP object. I will come to the part where we will be using value annotation, and we will be creating application.properties file now only. Let me run the application, and I will just show you that these value are getting printed. So we see that now we are getting the values Subhadeep, cricket, and if we see that in the beans.xml file we are manually assigning the value. So that is like we are manually passing the static value. So that is not the right approach to do that. So instead of we will add our application.properties files where we will be assigning these values, and from that application.properties file it will load to the beans.xml file, and then the value will be printed. So we'll go to this resource folder and click on file. I will add a new file called application.properties file. So I have created application.properties file. Now I will add the value name for Subhadeep, value for this, and hobby. So let me do that. So this is name is belongs to the employee. So I'll do employee dot name. I'll put as Suvo, and employee dot email ID and row employee dot hobby play football. Okay, so now we have mentioned this all the field in the application.properties file. You can do anything like instead of employee, you can put any name or any key. But as it is a part of like employee, and so we should follow the some kind of naming conversions. So that's why I am putting employee dot name or employee dot email ID. And so I will pass this key on the bins.xml file. So to do that, I will do a dollar within curly braces. I will pass the key name. Similarly, I will do for email ID and hobby. So dollar. So I have added this. So if we run this application, do it means that it will pass the values for employee.name as Subhodhi from Subho from this application.properties file? Let me know on the comment section. Of course not, it will not print the value because we are not telling beans.xml file to look for which application.properties file. So we need to add some tags and pass the application.properties file. For that, there's a tag called property placeholder, and in this location we'll pass a class path colon this application.properties. APLICATI when application dot properties. I will close the tag. So let me run the application now. So now we see that we got the name Suho, email ID, play, and so now what actually it is going on. So beans when we are getting the beans, so it will look for this XML file. So and it is check, okay, there is a one fields called employee.name, then and employee.is name is coming from which location, application.properties. Then it will go to this application.properties file and it is fetching that employee.name. So it is going to the beans, and from beans it is going to the application file. So if we want to get directly from the application file, just we would not assign the properties or we will not inject the value from here. So we will inject the value from this application.properties file to this specific functions, or we can say the specific fields. So how to do that? For that we have one annotation called value. So let me add that annotation @value. So in this value, what is that? For example, we want to set the name is the developer. So we are setting the name as the developer. And if we want to name for this, what is that? For this email ID, we can put any name, or we can put any name here, something like subho@gmail.com. Or if you want to fetch this from here from the application.properties file, so we can get this key employee.email ID and we can pass this within the curly braces, and like that we can inject the value. So I have not injected for this set hobby. So let me run the application and to show you that by assigning this is by the static value we are passing, which is not the right approach we should follow in the industry level, and we will get a value from the application.properties file using this method. So let me run the application and we will see that using this setter method, it is injecting the value when we are doing at the rate value annotation on the top of setter method. So let me run the application and show you that. So we see that everything is coming as null. Can anyone guess why the value as null is coming? Right? Yeah, I think you have guessed. So we are using value annotation. So to enable the annotation using on the Java side, we have to enable one tag. So what was that tag? If you watch the auto annotation, you already know that. So we will use annotation config tag. Yep, context annotation config tag. So I will rerun the application. So now we see we are getting name as the dev developer, where the dev developer, and the email ID is Subo at the see that hobby is coming as none. Why hobby is coming as none? Because we are not passing or injecting the value using the value at the rate value and it is, and in the as in the beans.xml file we have not using any properties file. So like that we can pass the value, and is it require need this what is that this setter method? I'll just remove the setter method and I will copy this value and I will paste it before the field's name, and here also before the field's name, and set name method is not required, and here I will inject a value for hobby as well. So it is what is that at the rate dollar employee dot name empl oy employee dot name, it is employee dot hobby. So now I run the application and will show that with doing that also we will be getting the value for hobby name and email ID. Let me run the application. We see that on doing other value annotation and without any setter method, so we are able to inject or the pass the value using from the application.properties file with the help of at the rate bean annotation, sorry, at the rate value annotation, right? In the coming videos we will be using at the rate bean annotation, at the rate component scan annotation, at the rate component annotation, and we will be totally remove this beans.xml file. There will be no beans.xml file, and the upcoming videos I will be explaining you about the beans life cycle. So please subscribe to the channel, and if you have faced any issue you can ask on the comment section. I will try to resolve that as soon as possible. So thank you for watching the video.